All right, so just a brief recap of some stuff we talked about last time. What is, if I say something is like a blueprint, what is the thing like a blueprint? Starts with a C. Second letter is L. It's a thing you guys don't have because of the way your school works.
Class.
Right, class. So the blueprint is the class.
Entirely the wrong way to start with.
Yeah. When you look at it that way, that's when we look at OOP. Remember what OOP stands for?
Object oriented.
Yeah. Programming,
I knew the object oriented.
right? And as a brief recap, remember that object-oriented programming we kind of use to distinguish a little bit in the sense that when most people think about programming, they think about do this thing, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing, which is absolutely still a thing that we have to worry about. But in object-oriented programming, we go a little bit further away, a little bit more abstract, and we model the program not necessarily as just a sequence of steps, but also as things working together. So there's one object and there's another object, and they can interact with each other and things like that. And the reason we do that is because sometimes it's more convenient because it looks more like how it works in the real world, right? The robot is a physical thing that has motors and actuators and sensors that are all interacting with each other. So it's convenient to think about the program like that because it mirrors what the real world looks like. Let's see, was there anything else I want to talk about right there? The states. All right, what do you think of when you see these words?
Initial, periodic.
Yep.
Automated, like the automated period of the competition.
Okay, you got the autonomous period. Yep, that's one of them. So you said initialized and periodic. What do you mean by initialized and periodic?
The first lines of code that all run when you first turn on the robot,
Mhm.
start the robot, and then the lines of periodic lines of codes that are constantly running.
I kind of like what you said, but there was one thing you said I didn't like, and it was when you turn the robot on. Does the autonomous init run when the robot turns on? No. When does it run? When you switch it to autonomous. Now, which init does run when the robot turns on?
Robot.
Robot init, right. So you've got autonomous, you've got robot, you've got simulation. What are some others you've got? There's three more? Teleop is another one. There's another one that's very common. Disabled happens a lot. And there's another one that you don't see that much called test. So remember that these are the three major states of the robot. The robot can be autonomous, it can be teleop, it can be disabled, and it switches between those states. When it enters a state, it runs the init for that state. And it doesn't just run that init the first time it enters that state, it happens every time it enters that state. So if it goes from teleop to disabled and back to teleop, it'll do teleop init 2 times because it went into teleop 2 times. But it'll run teleop periodic constantly while it's in teleop. And because it's doing that, what is the programming thing you should almost never be writing in robot code? Repeats or loops. Remember, loops, bad. Loops and loops are generally bad. And the reason you have loops and loops is because the periodic functions act like loops because they run approximately every 20 milliseconds. Okay, any questions over this stuff or things we want to touch back on from this?